The hard truth is your metabolism hasn't slowed down. Welcome to Strong for Life Live, if you're catching it live, or the Strong for Life podcast, if you're catching it on any of the podcast streaming platforms. I'm Coach Josh, and I'm down here in Hobart, Tasmania. It is our usual Tuesday morning, 10 a.m., and we're going to talk about, well, does your metabolism slow down as you age? And does that lead to weight gain? Because it's something I'm pretty sure we've all heard before. But before that, please, if you have the opportunity, like, rate, and review. Share the content, share the podcast, share anything you learned, ask questions, interact. It's the interaction that makes it all worthwhile. It's always great to chat to anyone who's found the podcast through, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever, and talk about the topics. That's how I also get more topics to talk about. So if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, please send them my way. Otherwise, just give us 5 stars because it feels good. Announcements. There are a couple new products in the work. So I have a new coaching product that has been worked on for a while now, and hopefully we'll have the first iteration of that coming out soon. There is also a new nutrition product, and that's still going to be a couple months away, but it's going to be awesome. So stay tuned. I'll obviously announce any big things here. Yeah, that's it. That's all I've got for announcements. A couple new things in the works. Nothing else big happening. Let's get into it then. So we've probably all heard this, and remember, this program is focused on busy parents and professionals, people who are probably of a certain age and very time poor, and life is much different for us than it was in our early 20s. Most of us are in our 30s. I'm smack bang in the middle of my 30s. A lot of the people I work with are in their 40s and even in their 50s. Life is different as you age. And I hear it all the time. People say, hey, I used to be able to eat whatever I wanted when I was young. But now that I'm older, my metabolism has slowed down. And the truth of it is, no, it hasn't. Your metabolism outside of medical conditions, don't get at me with your thyroid stuff. I'm not talking about disease states. I'm talking about normal, healthy people. Your metabolism really does not slow down. It's just not really a thing. So then the question is, why do you start gaining weight in your 30s and 40s and 50s? And why is everybody thinking that their metabolism has slowed down because they can't do what they used to? And now they're putting on that extra weight. It's a big question, and I see it a lot. This is my cohort, my 30 to 40-year-old men, people in my age bracket, generally have a little bit of extra around the middle. I've got a lot of folks starting to get that spare tire that goes around the middle and the love handles and things like that, and then people are like, oh, it's just aging, and it's like, no, it's not. If you've ever been a partier in your younger years and then gone out and tried to relive that in your 30s or 40s, you understand how hard that lifestyle is because you don't recover in the same way. And it's similar to how we eat. We can't do the things we did in our teens and 20s in our older years because we don't live that way. Our lives have completely changed. You can eat so much more usually in your 20s, not because your metabolism is faster, but your lifestyle has completely changed. Most people, if you're a professional and you're working at a job all the time, you probably didn't work as much. And you probably went out and did stuff after work or before work. You were active. You were moving more. And when we look at energy expenditure and the amount of movement someone does across the day, even just how much you actually just fidget and move and tap your feet and wiggle your fingers, that adds up to a lot of energy expenditure. And people tend to do less of that as they age. You're less active. Your lifestyle has changed. And so trying to eat in the same way that you did in your 20s is going to lead to weight gain because you have much less energy expenditure. It's all the same. It's always about, and there's nuance here, but it's always about calories in, calories out. What dictates how much you are actually getting from your food and how much you're expending is nuanced. It's not a strict 1 calorie in, 1 calorie out equals 0. It's more like you bring in 2 calories and your body might take in and absorb 1 calorie. And then when you're doing exercise and you think you're doing 1 calorie of exercise, you might actually only be doing a half a calorie of exercise. So the equations have a lot of issues with the variables because it's really actually quite complex to record all these things and look at how much the body can actually utilize and digest of the food that we eat. But in theory, calories in, calories out is king. And when you stop doing stuff, when you start spending 40 hours a week sitting at a desk and then you go home and you sit at the TV and you lay there and you eat more food and you drink more beer, you're going to gain weight. There's no way around it. Your metabolism isn't changing. Even the elderly, people in their 60s and 70s, their metabolism mostly works exactly the same. There is some slowing-ish in that age category, but in general, it's very minimal, and everything still comes down to how active you are and how much total food you're eating, because anything in excess to your needs is going to be stored. If you're trying to build muscle, you need some excess to build muscle. But if you're not active enough and not giving your body the stimulus required to build muscle mass, your body is going to store excess energy. Calories are just a unit of measurement for energy. You're going to store excess energy as fat. That's what your body uses to store energy. And it's needed to do that for hundreds of thousands of years. And that's fine. But when we stop moving and live a more sedentary lifestyle, we're going to do more storage. And this is why, although a lot of folks might like to argue about what causes fat loss and what doesn't, but this is why when people start upping their steps and doing more active things with their lives, picking up sports or run groups or walking groups, they start to lose weight again in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s. It works just fine. So the moral of the story is that we need to, and I've seen this a lot this week, and I don't know why it's so on topic, but the answer isn't outside yourself. The answer is you. Your choices are what have changed in your life, and that's just the way life works sometimes. We have kids. That changes what we can and can't do with our time. Changes how much time we actually have to utilize for things. But people like to say, I don't have a choice in this. It's just my metabolism. It's just carbs. It's just salt. It's just meat. It's just vegetables. Whatever particular branch of nutrition ideology you are attached to, it's always something outside of your choices and the amount of food you're taking in. And it just isn't the case. Carbs are not bad. Animal products are not bad. Vegetables are not bad. Salt isn't bad. Sugar is not bad. It's the amount. It's how much you're taking in relation to how much activity you're doing. And just kind of a side note, we've all known those people who naturally stay quite lean. People, we call them hard gainers in the industry, but people who are, seen to be eating all the time and never put on any weight, never put on any fat mass. Well, the interesting thing to note is that a lot of those people are really twitchy, and they spend a lot of time burning extra energy because they never stop moving. And so it seems like they can eat forever and not gain weight, but really they're just doing more movement. And once we equate for the amount of movement you do and the amount of food that you're eating, everything balances out. Everything comes down to that equation. So just remember, if you're finding yourself in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and you're starting to go, my metabolism is slowing down. I'm aging and my metabolism is slowing, and that's the reason I'm gaining weight. Why don't you look at how much exercise you're doing on a daily basis, how many glasses of wine or beer you're drinking per week, how much you're eating, and then look at what you did when you were 20. If you're eating the same way as you did when you're 20, but you're not living the same way, there's your answer. It's not something uncontrollable. This is an equation that is completely controllable in almost every instance. It's just a matter of finding the truth of it. How much are you moving? How much are you eating? And then you can get into the nuance of what micronutrients might you need to be worrying about? What type of movement? Let's dig into your sleep. So there it is. The hard truth of this week is your metabolism hasn't slowed down. You've just changed how you live. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We got some other interesting topics coming up in the next couple weeks, so please subscribe, like, rate, review, send in questions. We can always talk about questions. We're probably due for another question and answer session. Those are always good fun. So if you got some questions, I'll write those down and we can try and do some question and answer stuff soon. And as always, if you need any help with your fitness, your health, your nutrition, managing your busy life, get in touch. Client intake is open. Happy to take on a few more clients over the next quarter. So get in touch if you have any questions, and we'll see if we can help. Again, this is Coach Josh down in Hobart, Tasmania. We'll see you next time.